Welcome back to another explainer. So I want you to think about the ultimate invisible tool that you use every single day, probably without even realizing it. It's this hidden architecture that makes human society function. It literally prevents us from just constantly bumping into each other, both literally and metaphorically.
How do you read someone's mind? No, seriously, think about it for a second. We usually talk about mind reading as if it's this sci-fi superpower or some magic trick you'd see in a movie. But the crazy thing is, you are already doing it. Every single time you anticipate a colleague's defensive reaction in a meeting before they even open their mouth, or when you realize your partner is annoyed just by that tiny subtle shift in their posture, you are engaging in everyday, real-life mind reading.
In the scientific world, we actually call this theory of mind. It's a cognitive ability that allows us to understand and attribute mental states to others. Essentially, it's putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. That is the formal term for this superpower. It's your brain's capacity to recognize that the people around us have their own internal worlds that are entirely separate from our own.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover 1. The social mind's superpower. 2. The 4 key components. 3. Why theory of mind matters. 4. Development and potential challenges. And 5. Navigating our social world.
All right, let's dive right into section 1, the social mind's superpower, and what it really means to step into another perspective.
You know, putting ourselves in someone else's shoes is an idiom we hear absolutely all the time. But, cognitively speaking, doing this is a monumental task for your brain. It requires you to temporarily just set aside your own reality, your own current knowledge, and your own feelings to comprehend exactly what someone else is experiencing. Think about a time you tried to explain a really complex project to someone from a totally different department, and halfway through you realized they were just staring at you blankly. That sudden realization you had, that is your brain kicking in and rapidly recalibrating to match their perspective. It is the absolute foundation of empathy and social connection.
Moving on to section 2, the 4 key components. This is the blueprint of our social architecture. So we constantly infer 4 structural pillars to decode the people around us. Let's say a colleague arrives 20 minutes late to a crucial pitch. First up, beliefs. We understand they might have honestly believed the meeting started at 10:30 instead of 10, and we infer how that false belief influenced their behavior. Second, desires. We recognize that their desire to succeed might differ completely from the careless impression they just gave, and that's what's motivating their frantic apologies. Third, intentions. We infer the unstated reasons behind their actions. We know they didn't intend to sabotage the pitch. And finally, emotions. We gauge their visible panic, understanding how that embarrassment is going to affect their behavior and confidence for the rest of the day. And the wild part is, we are rapidly processing these 4 pillars, beliefs, desires, intentions, and emotions, in just a fraction of a second.
Which brings us to section 3, why theory of mind matters and the practical utility in our daily lives.
Let's see how this builds, because it really breaks down into 3 steps. Step 1, predicting behavior. By understanding other people's mental states, we can literally predict their actions and responses. If you know a specific client heavily values data over flashy aesthetics, you can confidently predict they're going to reject a highly stylized light-on-numbers proposal. Step 2 is communicating effectively. Theory of mind enables us to tailor our communication to another person's perspective. You wouldn't deliver a pitch to a skeptical executive the exact same way you'd brainstorm with an enthusiastic creative team, right? You automatically adjust. And step 3, build relationships. Ultimately, by empathizing with others, we can develop stronger, far more meaningful professional and personal connections. Without these 3 steps working in perfect harmony, navigating society would basically be like driving blindfolded. Okay, section 4, development and potential challenges. Let's look at the construction of this ability and the roadblocks.
So how does this actually develop? Well, it begins in early childhood, which is a time when we are naturally incredibly self-focused. In fact, before the age of 4, kids usually just assume everyone else knows exactly what they know. If a toddler watches you hide a toy, they assume anyone walking into the room also knows exactly where that toy is. But then, right around age 4 to 5, a truly sophisticated understanding emerges. This is when kids pass what psychologists call the false belief test. They consistently start to recognize that other people can hold beliefs that are simply untrue, or they might want entirely different things than they do. And while individual growth definitely varies, this 4 to 5 year window is a massive leap forward in cognitive social skills.
However, there can be roadblocks here. Typically, we navigate mental states pretty smoothly.
understanding hidden cues, and predicting actions. But for individuals with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, there can be distinct challenges in recognizing and interpreting these invisible social cues. Because those exact cues are the essential fuel for theory of mind, missing or misinterpreting them can make navigating social environments incredibly complex and draining. It's a really vital reminder that this invisible architecture operates differently across humanity.
And finally, Section 5, Navigating Our Social World. Let's bring all of this together.
So, the big takeaway here is that theory of mind is not just some dry, academic term reserved for cognitive psychology textbooks. It is a fundamental cognitive ability. It's the very thing that allows us to navigate the social world without constant chaos. It helps us accurately predict and appropriately respond to the behavior of everyone around us. And most importantly, it is the crucial mechanism for building the strong, empathetic relationships that make human life so rich and rewarding. Every single successful social interaction you have is a testament to your brain successfully operating this invisible architecture.
So I want to leave you with a question to think about. How will you use your invisible architecture in your next social interaction? The next time you sit down for coffee with a friend or walk into a big meeting, take just a split second to notice your brain actively inferring beliefs, desires, intentions, and emotions. You are mind reading. Use it to understand, use it to empathize, and use it to connect. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.